it seems that all roads lead through Injune from our point of view. We're now back from our little sojourn to the Carnarvon Gorge, and wow, what an experience up there. That's something a little different, certainly different to what we saw up Mount Moffat. We've spent the night again at Injune and picked up the caravan, and we're heading back out the Womblebank Road. Now this is the road that we went out to go to Mount Moffat, except that when we get to Womblebank we're going to follow the road on around to the left and we're heading down towards Mitchell. So that is our next major objective. We're approaching the Womblebank homestead, and this is where the road splits to go out to Mount Moffat. A whole heap of cattle up under the tree up here. Road to the right is out to Mount Moffat. We're going to the left. We're heading down towards Mitchell. A few seconds ago we had a wide road. Now all of a sudden it's basically one car width. No runoff. Maybe there is, but it's covered in grass. We're drifting along the road and we find there's a river alongside of us, and hey, there's a rest stop. It's a bit unusual. In the meantime, as the road heads up down to the right and across the Maranoa River. Now, the interesting part of this river is I'm standing at the top of the hill. There's a flood sign there saying 9 metres. That's a lot of water. The river seems to have plenty of water in it. And then the roadway acts like a weir. There's decidedly less on the other side. Unusual colour, it's blue and black. Or turquoise or aqua or something. Just a little tiny butterfly. We're heading towards Mitchell and Major Mitchell's campsite. 2.5 kilometres in. We've had a little look at the road, we've had a think about it. Got a 30-foot caravan on the back. We're not too sure as to whether or not there'll be anything at the other end where we turn around. Do we take the chance or not? And we decided maybe not. Onwards to Mitchell. This is the Maranoa River. And this is Mitchell.
Mitchell is situated on the banks of the Maranoa River. The economy relies heavily on agriculture, tourism, primary production such as cattle, sheep, cypress pine milling and a quarry, with crops grown in the eastern part of the area. Mitchell was named after Sir Thomas Mitchell, who camped on and named the Maranoa River on June the 3rd, 1846, during an expedition to find an overland route from Sydney to the Gulf of Carpentaria. A memorial stands at the campsite, which is located approximately 40 kilometres north of Mitchell on the Forrestvale Road.
It's our first pass through the town. Just a few k out of Mitchell. There's what's called the Neil Turner Weir. And all the caravanners apparently come out here and free camp. Set themselves up. It's a nice little area. The weir's not the most attractive, but for all that, it's a free camping area. Well, we're just out of Mitchell and we're heading towards St George, and there's a memorial on the side of the road at a place called Arrest Creek. And it was here that the Kenneth brothers, who murdered Constable Doyle and the station manager AC Darkle near Mount Moffat, they were captured in this particular area. This sculpture represents the capture of one of the Kenneth brothers. Now, back in towards town, we passed a statue of a guy on the hill, just looking like this, and had no idea what it was about. And that was obviously where the other Kenneth brother was eventually captured. We're about 150 kilometres from St George, and we're heading south. If you have a look at all the crap in the trees, this is how far up the floodwaters came. Swing across the road, and there it is, all in the fences. In other words, this road was well and truly underwater only a few weeks ago. Sunset to the dulcet tones of our Honda 2 generator.
He's having trouble there.
It's incredible, isn't it? We're just entering St George. And there's a bridge which looks a little narrow to me. This river was totally flooded not so long ago.
On this side, because that's a weird thing.
This is St George, and all this was underwater not so long ago. Just looking at the grass, the way it's flattened in the mud here. Still cleaning up. The grass actually through the links in the chain. This is the Boulogne, or the Boulogne River. It runs down from Surat, comes down here through St George. And the bridge there is actually a weir. And they can lift those gates and of course let the water through. I'm about level with the top of the bridge. Can we have a look at these trees? Look at the rubbish in them at this height. One for a bucket.
In 1890, the Boulogne River reached a peak of 13 metres and flooded the town. A similar peak was reached in March 2010, but a month before, a protective levee was built along the southeast riverbank to a river height of 14.5 metres. Most of the town's built-up area was kept dry in 2010.
It's April the 23rd, 2010, and at this spot, exactly 154 years ago, I guess that means, Sir Thomas Mitchell, at this spot, at St George's Day, crossed the Boulogne and established a camp calling the crossing St George's Bridge. And this was the origin of the town of St George. Today.
In 1948, construction of a weir began at the old Mitchell crossing, and a higher bridge replaced the timber structure. The weir supplied both town water and the St George irrigation area, where farms were created from the resumption of the Boombar pastoral property. With areas averaging 120 hectares, the farms were designated for fodder crops, lucerne and cotton. A tenfold increase in irrigation supply from the Beardmore Dam in 1972 greatly increased cotton growing, and the St George Cotton Gin was opened in 1976.
Right over the road from the information centre here in Boulogne, we've heard is the way it's pronounced, and that's the Boulogne River. The local district winery here is River Sands Wines, and on the opposite side of the road it's a real mess from the flood only 5 weeks ago, but look at this through here. These guys would have had one heck of a mess to clean up in that winery.
This beautifully presented Model T rod was hooked onto a trailer, out of which was being unloaded a Falcon ute. The owner was rather perturbed and was muttering unkind things about Queensland roads, rather mirroring my own thoughts, and was really dirty that the service stations down the road didn't have gas. I deduced that the reason he was so filthy on the world was that the ute ran entirely on gas, and none being available, ran out. It would seem the ute was towing the trailer with the rod in it, but now it seems the rod became the tow vehicle and the ute the towee. We took time to have a look at the Buckenbar Weir and the cotton farms it services along the road. The Nindigully Pub is Queensland's oldest hotel, located in its original condition and position on the banks of the Moonee River. The licence was issued in 1864 after operating as shearers' accommodation for the Nindigully station. The Gully, as it's affectionately known, brewed its own beer and spirits before Forex and Bundaberg rum even existed. Today, the boomtown of approximately 50 people and 15 houses of the early 1900s has been reduced to 2 houses, the pub, the old general store and the town hall with a population of 6. It sits on the bank of the Moonee River, where campers and caravanners are encouraged to camp and enjoy the fishing and the pub's facilities.
Cost the same.
If you enjoyed this video, there's over 200 more just like it on this channel. Subscribe and hit the notification bell and we'll let you know when our next video is available. If you liked this video, hit the like button. And if you weren't that impressed, please don't hit the dislike button. Instead, tell us why, so that we can do something about it. Thanks for watching.